5 Raptors swarmed the skies, certain their victory was already won. But then, one call sign echoed through the radio Aurora, and in that moment, silence fell. What happened next would turn hunters into prey, and a legend into something far greater. The ocean stretched far beyond sight, a restless blue plain under the morning sun. The waves moved in slow rhythm, each crest sparkling like broken glass. Above it all, the sky was wide, pale, and golden, the kind of sky that promised both peace and danger. At the center of this vastness floated a carrier, a city of steel set upon moving water. From dawn, it had been alive with motion. Sailors rushed, in color-coded vests, green for launch crews, red for ordnance, yellow for directors. They moved like parts of a machine, each gesture practiced, each signal sharp. Engines roared, hydraulics hissed, radios barked clipped commands. It was chaos to outsiders, but to the crew it was rhythm, a kind of music written in metal and sweat. High above, 2 jets sliced the sky. Their engines screamed as they banked hard, sunlight flashing from their angular bodies. They were not ordinary fighters. They were the newest breed, silent killers of the air. Raptors, fast and proud. The sailors looked up, shading their eyes. Raptors did not belong to the sea. They were born for the Air Force, not the Navy. Seeing them circle above a carrier was unusual, and it sparked whispers. But the real cause of tension was not the Raptors, it was her. Rumors had begun the night before. They spread in the mess halls, carried in low voices across the deck. Some laughed, saying it was only talk. Others swore it was true. A pilot was returning. A pilot unseen for years. A call sign spoken like a ghost story. Aurora. Young sailors grinned at the idea. To them, it was just a name, passed down with exaggeration. They had heard pieces of the tale, impossible dogfights, exercises turned into art, kills earned against whole squadrons. Stories grew in the telling, and they assumed this one had too. But the older crew did not laugh. They did not smile. They grew silent. To them, Aurora was not a myth. She had been real. She had flown among them. She had left without noise, but her legend had remained louder than her absence. And now she was back. Why now? Why her? No one knew. The officers did not say. Officially, the day was a joint exercise. Raptors would test the Navy in simulated combat, but everyone sensed the truth. This was a stage, and the world was watching. On the bridge, Commander Steele leaned on the railing, eyes fixed on the horizon. His hair was gray, his posture stiff from years of salt air. Next to him, his young lieutenant smirked. "She won't last 5 minutes," the lieutenant said. "The Raptors are too advanced. It isn't her time anymore." Steele did not reply. He spat into the wind and kept watching the sky. After a pause, he said quietly, "Pray you never see her fly against you." Below, in the hangar, the crew worked in silence. The jet waited there, painted gray like any other, but when they rolled it forward, the air seemed to shift. Sailors stopped mid-step. Conversations broke. Then she appeared, helmet under her arm, visor reflecting the sun. Her stride slow, steady, certain. She did not look for eyes, and she did not need to. Every eye found her. Her flight suit bore the marks of years. Patches faded, fabric worn, yet still carrying authority. Across her chest plate, bold letters spelled it out. Aurora. The name ran across the deck like a spark. Young sailors whispered it under their breath. Veterans simply stared. She reached the jet, handed her helmet to the crew chief, and began her pre-flight checks. Every movement was efficient. No waste, no pause. She touched switches as if they were extensions of her hand. Above, the Raptors circled again, their engines thundering. They moved in wide arcs, like predators circling prey. Inside their cockpits, young pilots laughed over the radio. They mocked the idea of an older pilot challenging them. They spoke of her as if she were already beaten. On the deck, a petty officer folded his arms, watching. A sailor beside him grinned. Bet the Raptors take her down quick. The petty officer shook his head slowly. You've never seen her in the air, he said. And I hope you never have to. Minutes later, Aurora climbed into the cockpit. She sealed herself inside. The carrier seemed to hold its breath. The engines roared alive, rattling steel and bone. Steam hissed from the catapult. Then, with a crack like thunder, she was gone. Her jet leaped into the sky, swallowed by blue, and the exercise began. Aurora climbed into the open sky, her jet steady beneath her hands. The ocean shrank below, turning into a patch of blue, broken by white foam. Ahead, 5 Raptors spread across the horizon, sleek, fast, confident. They moved like hunters closing on prey. Their formation tightened, boxing her in with smooth precision. To the sailors on the carrier, it looked like victory before the fight even began. In the cockpits, the young pilots joked, "She won't last long. Old school, outdated machine." Their voices carried ease. They had trained in simulators. They had faced challenges. None had shaken them. Why should today? Aurora said nothing. Her hands rested on the controls, calm, her breathing steady. She had seen this before eager pilots who thought the sky was theirs. She let them draw closer. She wanted them near. On the carrier, Commander Steele's eyes narrowed. His lieutenant smirked again. "She's trapped. Look at them. It's over." Steele didn't move. "Watch," he said quietly. The Raptors closed in, 1 above, 2 on the sides, 2 behind. Perfect formation. Perfect cage. Aurora tilted her jet slightly, testing their rhythm. They adjusted at once, shrinking the gap. To them, it looked like hesitation. To her, it was measurement. She was reading their tempo, learning their pattern. Then came the voice of the Raptor leader, sharp, confident. "Aurora, you're boxed. Best to call it before this gets ugly." Her reply was calm, almost gentle. "Copy." A pause. Silence stretched. Then her tone hardened. "Aurora, maneuvering." Her jet rolled suddenly, sharp into the sun. For an instant, the glare blinded the Raptors. The formation faltered. Their chatter spiked. "She's breaking left, cut her off." But she was already gone. The cage had been a trap for her. Now it was a puzzle she had solved. Down below, sailors gasped. The young ones muttered in disbelief. The veterans stayed silent, waiting. They had seen this shift before. The Raptors weren't hunting anymore. They were about to be hunted. Aurora dove low, skimming the edge of the clouds. The Raptors followed, their engines roaring like storms. They believed they had her cornered again. One pilot locked onto her. His computer gave the tone. His chest surged with adrenaline. He fired. The simulation confirmed a kill. Relief washed over him, until her voice cut through the comms. "Check your 6. He froze. His radar screamed. She wasn't in front anymore. She was behind. His eyes widened. Impossible. He had her. He was sure. But her cannons lit his screen with a kill signal. Raptor 4, guns dead. Her voice was flat, clinical, not mocking, just fact. The pilot's hands trembled. His jet peeled away, marked dead. Humiliated on the carrier. The radar blinked red. 1 Raptor gone. A murmur swept across the deck. The young lieutenant's mouth dropped open. She killed him in seconds. Steele's voice was steady. "No," she taught him. Above, the Raptors tightened, shaken, their formation roughened. They were no longer flawless. Their laughter had vanished. Aurora banked into the sun again. The move looked old-fashioned, predictable. But she vanished into the glare. Visual lost. 1 pilot barked. She came down like lightning. Her fuselage cut the air between them. The simulation lit again. Raptor 2, guns dead. Another voice cursed in disbelief. 2 down. 3 remained. The sailors erupted in noise cheers, gasps, shouts of awe. The veterans nodded. They had expected it. The balance was shifting. The legend was awake. Asterisk 3 Raptors left. Their confidence was gone. Their breathing quickened in the helmets. Stay tight, their captain barked. We can still box her. But the box was broken. Aurora dragged them higher, into thinner air. She moved smooth, graceful, forcing them to burn fuel and energy. Each turn made them weaker. Each climb tightened the strain. One pilot pushed too hard. He tried to cut across her path. He rolled, miscalculated. She slid behind him in a blink. Raptor 5, guns dead. The silence after was heavy. On the carrier, the sailors watched, eyes wide. The young lieutenant whispered, "She's tearing them apart." Commander Steele only nodded. 2 Raptors left. Their formation clung together, desperate for safety. Their voices no longer joked. They breathed hard, sharp. Aurora's voice came calm, steady. "Engage or disengage, Captain. Your choice." It wasn't taunt. It was test. The captain grit his teeth. "We fight." But even he felt it, the shift. They weren't fighting for victory anymore. They were fighting to survive. Aurora circled above, patient as a hawk, watching, waiting. Every second pressed harder against their nerves. She had turned hunters into prey. Asterisk the sky was scarred with contrails. But only 2 Raptors remained. The captain and his wingman. "Stay with me," he ordered. His voice shook. Aurora dove without warning. They followed into the dive, straining against the force. For a moment, hope surged. They had her locked. "Fox 3, the wingman shouted. His missile simulation confirmed a kill. Relief flooded him, but it lasted only seconds. Aurora vanished into the clouds. When they broke through, she was gone. "Where is she?" Panic cracked his voice. Then the captain saw Itabov, out of the sun. She dropped on them like a blade. Her guns lit the simulation. Raptor 3, guns dead. The wingman peeled off, defeated. Only one remained,